even Vishwaguru. You must read this book. You must read this book, How We Can Rebuild India. That is lecture from Colombo to Almore. It's a wonderful book. We must read it, and we must imbibe with ideas with Swami Vivekananda. That is renunciation and service. Dear friends, India has achieved independence more than 75 years ago. Still India couldn't reach the target of development, target of progress. 75 years is not a small period, but why India couldn't achieve the success, target of success? One thing is there is a dearth of human resource. There is a dearth of human resource. Swami Vivekananda said time and again, men are wanted. Everything take care of itself. हमें मनुष्य चाहिए. कैसा मनुष्य चाहिए? ईमानदार मनुष्य चाहिए, मैन ऑफ इंटीग्रिटी, मैन ऑफ कैरेक्टर. ऐसे आदमी चाहिए जिससे हम देश को आगे ले जा सकते हैं. इसलिए स्वामी विवेकानंद जी कहते हैं, men are wanted. Everything take care of itself. First we have to become the enlightened citizen of India. हम तो सब citizens हैं, नागरिक हैं, लेकिन it's a matter of great regret that we all are not the ideal citizen of India. We are not ideal citizen of India. We have to become ideal citizen of India. You have to identify yourself with our motherland, India. Then you can rebuild India. You can make India strong. There is no doubt about it. If you see the patriotic spirit of Swami Vivekananda, then you will wonder. Being a monk has nothing to do with this mundane world, but how much he loved his motherland, India. When anybody used to talk about India, Swami Vivekananda used to shed tears. When Swami Vivekananda went to America, he saw the glory of science and technology in America. America was a very rich country in those days. But Swami Vivekananda, see the another picture, the reverse picture, the picture of India. In those days, some of this time, India was not so developed. India, there is a lack of basic amenities of life in India, finding in the people. So, Swami Vivekananda shed tears. When India will rise again, when India will become great, because in past India was so great in all things. That is why it is called. जब भारतवर्ष को क्या कहते थे? सोने की चिड़िया कहते थे पहले. लेकिन इस सोने की चिड़िया अब धीरे धीरे क्या हो गया? ऐसे समय जाते गया और हम देखते हैं भारतवर्ष की पतनावस्था. The degraded India. Swamiji has seen the degraded India. That is why Swami Vivekananda was so much pain to see the helpless condition of India, helpless condition of the masses. That is why Swami Vivekananda wanted to raise the sleeping masses. And Swamiji's mission was to raise the Indian masses. Raise the Indian masses so that they can dedicate themselves for rebuilding India. I will conclude my speech conclude my speech with 3 words. That is, if an individual wants to become great, strong and vibrant, or society wants to become strong and vibrant, and even the country wants to become great and vibrant, there are 3 things are necessary, dear friends. One is transparency, another is accountability, and third is credibility. Try to understand this point, 3 points. That first you have to become transparent. The individual wants to become grow and to make progress. Then first thing is transparency. Nowadays you find there's a lot of you don't find any transparency in many fields. Transparency means not only in monetary transaction, but transparency in everything. Transparency in dialogue, transparency in behavior, everything you must maintain transparency. Another thing is accountability. जिसको हम हिंदी में कहते हैं जवाबदेही. You must be accountable to the person, to the customer, to the country people. And the third is credibility. Dear friends, if you want to become strong and vibrant, then one must have this idea of credibility. These things are very necessary for development of India, development of a nation or country, that is transparency and accountability and credibility. With these few words, I have to conclude my speech. Whenever I conclude my speech, generally I quote the famous Vedic prayer, that is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santuniya. Let all be happy, let all be healthy. Namaskar, Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Swamiji, for embracing and sharing those beautiful thoughts and ideas. And one day, India will become a Vishwaguru. Though we all know Sri N. Venkataramanji, Additional Solicitor General of India, but as a ritual, I would like to introduce him briefly. Sir completed his law in the year 1989 at the Madurai Kamraj University, and in the same year, he commenced his practice under late Mr. C. Natarajan, Senior Advocate, and worked under him for 14 years before starting his independent practice in June 2003. He was designated as a Senior Advocate in the year 2006 by the Madras High Court. Fondly known as MV among the legal fraternity, Sri N. Venkataramanji has professional practice in the fields of indirect taxes, direct taxes, international taxation, and in the last 10 years, he has been doing extensive work in constitutional law and various regulatory matters, framing and settling contracts and arbitrations besides intellectual property laws, and has involved in matters of substantial public importance such as Sabrimala, Article 370, CAA, child sex abuse, and similar such issues. With this process, I request Additional Solicitor General of India, Sri N. Venkataramanji, to edify us on today's topic.
Namaste Sharade Devi Kashmira Puravasini Swamaham Kartige Nityam Gyadanan Pranam Maharaj, Learned Attorney General, Economic Sir, Trinity, Atiti Alpana, and my good friends, educators and Ravi, the topic of authority. First, let me appeal to all of you. The next 25 allotted minutes to me. I would like to speak as a patriotic citizen and not as a law officer. And the views expressed are completely personal. So that I have the freedom to speak what I want. That's the whole idea. Why do we celebrate Swami Vivekananda even after 2 centuries? That's the first question every youth in this country should answer. There is a guarantee that world works in an order. And it works in an order because God has perpetuated a dharmic rule to follow by His word. And when something we find that the dharma gets strayed, there is an assurance by God that He will take an avatar and restore and put dharma back in shape. That's why God plus dharma plus avatara makes our dharma very special and unique, called Sanatana Dharma, eternal dharma. Imperishable dharma, because it might decline, but it can never be destroyed, because it declines only to reclaim back. One such Avatar Purusha is Swami Vivekananda. And that's why we celebrate him even today. Why is he an avatar? He achieved everything that could be achieved within 39 years because he did not live beyond 39 years. If you see his life history, he finished everything by 35, 36. And his last 3 years he spent just to keep his mortal coil in his soul. 2. The biggest unique difference he showed and he wanted every youth to capture in his mind. See, today all of us are citizens, no doubt about it. Let's put one question before ourselves. How do you relate Bharat to yourself? Answer the question to your conscience. Most of us will say, look here, I'm a citizen of this nation, I'm born here, and the country has to give me this, the country gives me this, I therefore pay my taxes, and therefore that's how the relationship is all about. So, one perspective of understanding one's nation is a contracting party. You are one side of the contract, and nation is on the other side of the contract, and you get into your teeth. This is what nation should give to you, and this is what you should give to nation. That's one perspective, a common perspective, a much spoken, propagated perspective. But Swami Vivekananda was a differentiator. He owned India as his, in his heart. That is the singular difference which made him to attain the glory as Swami Vivekananda. Would you not own your mother? Then what is the difficulty in owning your motherland? What does Ramayana say? Janani Janmabhoomi is Sarkadavi Gariyasi. What you cannot, what you would not do to your mother, you cannot and you should not do to your mother. Simple. So, ownership is the first essential component which connects a citizen with his nation and the nation building process. And who should own it? Who should own it more? Why do they say Swami Vivekananda is associated with youth? Every time you celebrate it as a youth day, he is considered ever charming youth even today. In his brief life, he exhibited fearlessness. He exhibited courage. He exhibited conviction. And he drove the message all over the world that don't take India for granted. We will one day ascend. It's cyclic. It's not that first time we are going through the graph, but this time the graph which is growing, understanding. I'll spend 5 minutes on how the nation is actually growing. All of you should know how we are actually growing and what each of us can actually do in its nation's growth. So, he made a clarion call to people of Bharat, but pronouncing to the world that we are one day, we will be on the top. He had the conviction to say it because he woke. Now, what did he say, or what do you think we can have as essential components of building a nation? We need to understand that. Very important. all of us so far, so Maharaj spoke, even the opening address, the welcome address, everybody identified Swami Vivekananda for what? For his power of spirituality. And that is the unique address Bharat has all over the world. We are able to conquer anybody in any part of the world because of our spiritual strength, which emanates from our dharmic values given by God, not by any other means. So, when somebody defines unity in diversity, which is the critical component of nation building at all points of time, the expression unity means a sync in the spiritual culture, traditional values of Mahabharata. Are we unified there? Can we be unified there? A unity there achieves secularism in its modern reference or in its modern terminology. So, unity of thought, unity of mind, unity of action should have a converging point, and the converging tool which Swami Vivekananda expressed very vocally throughout his life was the inherent spiritual strength of Bharat. Without the spiritual strength, why do we say so? There is a reason for it. Our scriptures very clearly say, which Swami Vivekananda has spoken several times. If you know to surrender to God, you will lose your selfishness. Once you lose your selfishness, you become the tool of God. And once you become the tool of God, you become all powerful to execute His plan of action. This is what is called as inner spiritual strength. How a human body and mind can translate into a tool, into an action point to deliver the unbelievable actions. Have you not seen? How is this possible with a man doing in one life? Have you not said so? Have you not seen such characters? The impossible is possible for God, and it is possible for a human form, provided the human form is selfless. So, the important second ingredient after unity for any nation building process is the fine, subtle, but a clear distinction between individuality and personality. A huge difference between them. Swami Vivekananda demonstrated that to the world. Individuality is driven by selfish desires, selfish agendas, and selfish motives. Whereas personality is one who integrates with a team spirit, team thought, and a national goal. Imagine, can we have our own goals being set, indifferent and independent of a national goal? Can we achieve it as individuals, and can the nation reach its destination? It's not possible. So, unless our thoughts, our actions, our conduct is assimilated by the national mainstream, we will only be drawing out of the nation and not contributing to the nation. That's the third point. Do you want to contribute and assimilate yourself as part of the mainstream, or take out from the nation whatever you want, your pound of flesh? He demonstrated contribution should be your attitude. You will get what you want to, the food. Fourth, how do you identify yourself in your way or your path to progress? He was merciless when it came to courage. He was merciless when it came to fearlessness. Yet, he was extremely compassionate. And our Dharma says, when can a human body become compassionate? It's a chemical formula. The mind, the body, and intellect should align, otherwise, you can't be compassionate. So, how do you become compassionate? It's very important for a modern mind. You should love from your heart and not from your intellect. Planned, schemed love is different from loving from one's heart. Your mind must be filled with courage. Your intellect should be filled with knowledge. You can't displace, you can't have knowledge from your mind, then you will become very emotional. You can't misplace all the three. The three must be in the right place. Love from the heart. Courage and the strength. You will get courage only when you are spiritually evolved. Courage doesn't come to people who are not spiritually rooted. Because first emanation of good spirituality is self-strength, and that is courage. And your buddhi should acquire the needed knowledge. And when you combine it with your body, with a mind to serve, you become a holistic person showing compassion. And the place, wherever you see the right compassion, that place, that value, that action will be dharmic in nature. That's the definition of dharma. So, nation building has to be in that roadmap, is what Swami Vivekananda has taught us. The last 5-7 minutes I'll take only to narrate a few things which all of you should be able to be part of it. The whole idea of disseminating this is you should be part of it. In 75 years of our independence, when somebody has finally visualized what this country should be after 25 years, way ahead, and prepare a roadmap, is it not time and opportunity for us, all of us, the young India, to understand what that roadmap should be? For example, see, we are now 5th in position in the world. Now we want to scale up to some 3rd position. How does it happen? So one question that would be asked is, how many of our banks are within the first 5 positions? How many of our manufacturing facilities are within the first 5 positions? Now, if you have to reach that scale, you can't reach that scale unless you prepare the infrastructure towards that vision. And unless you draw that vision, you cannot work towards that vision. And once a vision is drawn, don't we have the duty and the responsibility to be a part of the vision to grow in that path? Today, the world is broadly divided into 3 buckets. Broadly. One set of the countries are willing to support the West. One set of the countries are willing to support each another powerful nation. we are still left with 100 nations who wants good leadership and who can build a world in order. And thanks to the effort of so many, today more than 35-40 countries are ready to align and see as a new emerging thought process. These are indicators of national building, which all of you should realize. Recently, at the instance of the learned Attorney General, we had one international convention. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Home Minister inaugurated it and concluded it. 35 African nations participated. We had an international meet in which we could include a big set of continental countries into this map. So, we are drawing a vision where it's not nation building. Look, today India is in a position of strength. We have been sitting on the gallery and watching things. Today, we are started to play, and people have started to respond and respect and see how this gameplay is going to change. The third important aspect which all of you should be able to understand is, today we are in a position where so many people want to partner with us. Capital exporting countries, 20 years back, 25 years back, when India has to enter into any agreement, it's always one-sided. Somebody will call the shots. And we were ready to align with them because it was at that point, nascent stage. Today we are able to sit on the table as equal partners and discuss what we want. So, this change is an opportunity for youngsters. You must follow these changes so that you will also try to understand how your roles are going to change over a period of time. By sheer change in the complex system of the country's growth and economy. See, we have now reached a beautiful stage, which was the dream of Swami Vivekananda. He said, we have the best spiritual strength of the East. Let us marry this with the best of material wealth of the West. So a marriage of material wealth and spiritual well-being together will end us up in glory and nothing else. So when this is the roadmap in which we are progressing, every youth, every citizen should now vote Bharat as his own self and see to what best you can contribute your might so that the dream, the big vision of Swami Vivekananda is achieved one day and at the shortest possible time and distance. It's a pleasure to have addressed Dr.